Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving deep into one of the most popular and most asked about cartilage piercings, the conch.
So, you're thinking about getting one, right? It's a really cool look for sure. But, it's also a pretty serious commitment. Definitely a bigger deal than your standard lobe piercing.
And that's exactly what we're going to cover. In this explainer, we're going to walk you through the whole process from the moment you sit in the chair to the many, many months of healing so you can decide if it's actually the right move for you. Okay, first things first, let's get into the nitty-gritty. What even is a conch piercing? And, where does it get that kind of weird name? Well, it's named after what it looks like, a conch shell. It's that big cup-shaped area of cartilage right in the middle of your ear. And because of that unique shape, you've actually got a couple of really cool options for where to put it. Yep, there are two main types. You've got the inner conch, which is tucked deep inside the cup of your ear. And then there's the outer conch, which sits on the flatter part closer to the outer rim. Just a heads up, which one you choose is going to affect the kind of jewelry you can wear down the road. All right, let's pull back the curtain on the procedure itself. What's actually going to happen when you're in that chair at the piercing studio? So you've basically got two options here. The vast majority of conch piercings are done with a standard sterile piercing needle. But if you're someone who wants to wear bigger jewelry from day one, your piercer might talk to you about a dermal punch. It literally removes a tiny circle of cartilage, kind of like a tiny cookie cutter. It's definitely more intense, but it's for a very specific look. Now, a pro piercer is going to follow a very clear set of steps. Think of this as your safety checklist. They'll clean the area, mark the spot, and you get the final say on where that dot goes. Then do the piercing, insert the jewelry, apply a little pressure, and then clean you up one last time. This is what a safe professional experience looks like. Okay, now for the big three. The questions we all want answers to, right? How much is this going to hurt? How long until I can finally change the jewelry? And what can I even wear in it? Look, everyone's pain tolerance is different, but here's a pretty realistic timeline. The piercing itself, it's a sharp, intense pain that's over in seconds. The real challenge is what comes after, a hot, throbbing ache for a few hours or even a couple of days. And then, for months, you'll get these surprise reminders if you accidentally roll over on it in your sleep. That'll wake you up fast. And this brings me to maybe the most important point of all. You have got to be patient. We're talking 6 to 9 months for a standard piercing to fully heal. Why so long? Well, cartilage doesn't get a lot of blood flow, so it heals super slowly. This is a real long-term commitment. I know you're probably dreaming about that perfect little hoop, but you're going to have to wait. Your piercer is almost definitely going to start you with a simple bar, and there's a really good reason for that. It leaves room for swelling, and it's much easier to clean. Hoops move around way too much and can really mess with the healing process. Save those for your fully healed celebration. And the material that first piece of jewelry is made of, just as important. To avoid a nasty allergic reaction, you have to stick with high-quality, body-safe metals. Titanium is a fantastic choice, totally hypoallergenic. Surgical steel is super common, but just know it has a tiny bit of nickel in it. And if you love gold, just make sure it's solid gold, not gold-plated. So because of that super long healing time, your aftercare game has to be strong. Seriously, this part is non-negotiable. Getting it right is the difference between a beautiful, happy piercing and a painful, angry one. These are your new commandments for the next half a year or more. You're going to clean it twice a day with saline, and always with clean hands. Oh, and here's a big one people always get wrong. Do not twist the jewelry. It doesn't help it heal, it just irritates it. And yeah, you're going to have to be really careful with headphones, hats, and especially how you sleep. It's also super important to know what to look for if things start to go south. Cartilage piercings are just more prone to infection than your earlobes, so be on the lookout for major redness, pain, yellow or green gunk, or swelling that just won't quit. Those infamous piercing bumps can also pop up, and if they do, your best bet is to check in with your piercer. And let's be perfectly clear on this one. If you start feeling sick, like a fever, chills, or if you see red streaks coming away from the piercing itself, this is not a piercing problem anymore. This is a medical problem. Don't call your piercer, call your doctor immediately. Okay, let's wrap up by tackling a pretty big myth that's been floating around the internet for a while. The idea that this piercing might be more than just for looks. So the theory is kind of based on acupuncture. The idea is that the conch is a pressure point, and piercing it could somehow help with things like chronic pain or migraines. It's a really interesting thought, but is there any truth to it?
The short answer, no. I mean, you'll find plenty of stories online from people who swear it helps them, but scientifically speaking, there is zero research to back any of these claims up.
So here's the bottom line. Get a conch piercing because you love the way it looks, because it's a form of self-expression. Don't get it as a treatment for a medical condition. Any relief people feel is most likely the placebo effect at work.
Phew. Okay, we've gone through the anatomy, the procedure, the pretty intense aftercare, and we've even debunked a major myth. So after all that, what's the big picture here?
Look, a conch piercing can be an absolutely stunning, unique piercing, but having a good experience really comes down to being prepared. You have to do your research, find a fantastic piercer, and be genuinely ready for that months-long healing journey. And that's really the question we want to leave you with. It is a serious undertaking for a very cool, very specific look. Now that you've got all the facts, you're the only one who can decide if that commitment is worth it for you.